Today's the 5th of June. It's
No.
20.
June, sorry. Start again.
Today is the 5th of June. It's 2022, and we've come to the village of, or the town of Lloseta. We haven't come to donate blood, but that's what the stone behind is commemorating. And we're just below the cultural centre. And the reason we come today is they've got a fair on, so we're going to investigate the fair in Lloseta. We're sort of in the middle north of the island, I suppose, northwest.
And we've never been here before either.
No, it's a town we've not been to. Industrial towns, you come in, big sort of industry, machines that you can see there, but all that's changing in Lloseta. Interesting place. I'll tell you about it more a bit later. We've just had to drive through the town of Lloseta. Very narrow streets. Trying to find somewhere to park the car, and we've come past the cultural centre here, part of the Ayuntamiento, the town hall of Lloseta. There's some lovely masks there that would be worn by the giants when they have their fiesta with the giants. So an interesting place. Theatre, cinema, right in the town. But we came down that road which is just to the left there. You can see just how narrow they are. I need to say, as we came through, not really designed for cars. And just looking, as we were going down, just looking, some of the roads to the side were much narrower still. So yeah, definitely not made for cars, but a very pretty looking town. And as I said at the beginning, it's got its roots in quite heavy industry for Mallorca. Mallorca doesn't really have any heavy industry, but Lloseta did have a very big cement making factory here, called Cemex, and closed down a number of years ago, and the whole thing was left derelict. I might try and get a little bit of it on a video as we leave the town. It's not actually in the centre of the town, it's just on the outskirts. It does leave a sort of an industrial blot on the landscape. Though I find things like that interesting. And it took them quite a while to decide what they were going to do with the factory, and it looks as though they've not completely decided yet anyway. But one of the exciting things, as far as I'm concerned, is that they're making clean, green hydrogen. And I don't know if any of you are up in green fuels. Hydrogen is just about the greenest fuel that you can have. It produces a lot of heat, it burns extremely well, and the only byproduct is water, pure water. So exciting that Lloseta is planning to produce 300 tons of hydrogen per year. That's a huge amount of hydrogen, as it's the lightest of all of the elements. So the chemists amongst you can work that one out. And that hydrogen, it's already got earmarked a number of different uses. So some of the buses in Palma are going to be using it, some of the hotels on the north of the island, and the gas company that lays the pipes here have now laid pipes so that it can be fed to different factories and places that might be able to use the hydrogen. It can be mixed very well with natural gas, methane, and burns in a similar way, but just much cleaner, and has no CO2 emissions attached to it whatsoever. It's referred to as green hydrogen because the normal hydrogen is actually made from methane. So people say, well, if you're going to make it from methane, why not just burn the methane, which is a good point. And green hydrogen is made by a process that doesn't involve methane at all. It's made from, basically it's made from water by electrolysis. So then the question comes from, where do you get the electricity from? And most electricity throughout the world is from burning fossil fuels. And this in the Lloseta doesn't come from fossil fuels, it's coming from solar panels. So there's 2 solar parks that are feeding the electrolysis plant So you've got lots and lots of solar panels, and all the electricity from that is being used to help produce this green hydrogen. So there's the science lesson for today. Any questions? Write them in the comments below. And
Are you ready for your test?
we're just about arriving at where the action is. You can see all the tables are out. It's quite early in the morning, 10 o'clock, just after 10 o'clock, so places are just opening up, and the fair is only just starting because it's due to start at 10 o'clock, so plan to come pretty early to see what's going on, and perhaps make our way out to Poyentz later on. You can already see some stalls here. Described as an artisan market. We just walk up here a little. Just a few stalls. So here we've got the basket making, which is very typical of the island. Making the baskets for shopping or for holding things in your fruit and your vegetables, or your coal, logs for the fire. And there's something actually. These are shoe formers, and they've now been turned into objets d'art. It's lights. Because the other thing about this fair is artisan market, but to celebrate shoes. Shoes are a big thing in Mallorca. So they've got some activities for the children again. Lots of things are not yet set up. We might have to come back here a little bit later on. This little square here seems to be a bit more shoey. Oh, you can smell the leather of the shoes. 2 pairs for 80 euros. Pretty smart shoes. So Mallorca is a shoe industrial island. I quite like those too.
These?
Oh dear, dear, dear. Yeah, maybe the darker red. I haven't actually associated Lloseta with shoes. More Inca, but we're actually very close to Inca, so I suppose we should be able to make that connection. So a nice and interesting selection of shoes, and yeah, good. What about some red brogues over there? What about them? Like the red brogues? Anita said, when I told her it was about shoes, she said, "Oh, I need a pair of shoes." This is the men's section, so she's looking at shoes for me. May well have to come back here. Here we've got some more trainer type shoes, boots, walking boots, important on the island here. And we got the pipers coming. And just come to the middle before we see the pipers, because here we have the giants just in front of a monument, which is the shoe monument. And now let's go and have a look to see if the pipers are coming down the road. Performing just on the side of the street. I think maybe they're just warming up. bagpipes, not only from Scotland. This is not just bagpipes, we've got a saxophonist, a trombonist, the drums are out, and a variety of penny whistles, I think. Excellent, well done. Just warming up for later on. As the bell chimes. Is that 10:30? 10:30. So I think we could be in for an exciting morning here in Lloseta. Double L. It's pronounced sort of like a yeah, sort of like the Welsh double L. So back to the shoe area. I think we might come back here because there is also a shoe museum. That's not open yet, so we need to have a look at that. And on this side, good range of different sorts of shoes here. Oh, I can see myself getting a new pair of shoes today. These are Apache. Not a name I recognise, but handmade shoes. And what an amazing price. And these are 20 euros or 30 euros. I think we'll have to come back and investigate. See, there's some more places here. This one's local Artesania, local. And I think there's some demonstrations going on later on, activities for children on how to make the shoes. And these are more rustic sort of shoes, traditional sorts of designs. They have some interesting things. Oh, that's what crochet. I thought it was knitting. You see, I don't know the difference. There you go. All of that Lloseta written all by crochet. Isn't that lovely?
I must take a picture for our knitting though. Even though they're not crochet.
There's one round the tree as well here. So Anita's sorting out her photographs. I'll just come down and we can take a little bit of an aerial view. See where we are. Just in front of the church. In normal circumstances I would really like to go and have a look in the church, but it's a Sunday, so maybe not today. The Cancer Association's down there. They're doing a great job just lately. We've seen them all over the place getting support for the association, Spanish Association for Cancer, contra cancer, against cancer. And here's the tree that's been dressed up with crocheted squares. So knitting ladies, looks like that could be your next little project. A blanket for the trees. I saw Leapy Lee the other day. He sings a song about a blanket on the ground, and about blankets on the trees. A few steps to go down here, and typical sort of old Mallorquin ones. They're just a little bit uneven, but managed to do that. And we have musical accompaniment as well to come around to. So continuing the artisan leather theme, here we've got some fabricants of different belts and other things out of leather. All the different tools that you use for that. This sort of really fascinates me. Before you can put in the emblems there, you can, I know there's a butterfly, you get stamped into the leather. Really, all the different tools too. All of that sort of thing fascinates me. We're in Mallorca here, so all the people chatting around as they're not speaking Spanish. Most of them are chattering away in Mallorquin, and here's some Mallorquin doors, lovely wooden doors, and some more modern ones as well. Oh dear, 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 darling.
Good job you're not hungry.
That looks good, doesn't it? Yes, we've just had breakfast, so we're not having any of this yet, but might take one home with us. And there's the Association Contra Cancer. Which we do support. Cloudy when we were driving up, and a bit concerned it might actually turn into rain, but well, clouds are dispersing, the sun's coming out, and then we have some blue sky. We're just entering now busier parts, cafes and bars looking really busy. Beautiful water fountain there. Just carry on. All the centre of the town looks as though it's closed off today, especially for this fair. And more shoes. So the focus on the fair is shoes, but other artisan type products, including food. This is sobrasada. Oh, I do like sobrasada, these big fat sausagey things here. And Mallorquin will tend to put them onto bread or onto toast, and I cook it, so I've been admonished for that by some people who think no, the sobrasada should never be cooked, the sobrasada should be eaten raw. I tend to think it tastes better when it's cooked, so I always cook it. I even put some honey, and I'm just going past a hive. Wow, look at those bees. Busy doing their work.
You like it, huh?
Beautiful, yeah.
They are amazing, aren't they? Bees are.
When you can see, it's a secret, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing.
I take the hive because the people really like it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fascinating.
Our son used to have one in his garden as well.
Yeah.
He lives in Majorca.
I live in Mallorca.
No, but our son.
Our son.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
That's
Lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Almond, sugar, milk and cinnamon. That sounds like an interesting drink. With gluten and lactose. So someone was asking me about, are there any places that do gluten-free or lactose-free? And well, that one does gluten and lactose included. So not one for you. But more artisan foods here. This all looks beautiful, and more bees. Make a lot of honey on the island, and where you actually have your hives will depend on what the honey is like. Depends on where the flowers that the bees have been visiting. So we've got the little stalls here where you can get your hot dogs, but the pastries are the things I like. Really nice. Maybe you have to take some of those home. Hola, buenos dias. Might have to get some of them to take home, darling, I don't know. Good morning, buenos dias. But get them on the way back. Yeah. Más tarde, sí, sí, sí.
All day. Bye-bye, thank you very much.
We go back down that way now?
We're going to have a coffee somewhere. That'd be nice, for lunch, for those. might get one for the girls for lunch tomorrow. They need to do many sandwiches.
Yeah.
It's really nice, isn't it?
Really pretty. And we're just going to pass an estate agent. And when I've looked on the estate agent's website, Lloseta, this village town, it's a town, and got a town hall. Oops, I'm going to get run over by a policeman. Is one of the cheaper places to live on the island, but it is very Mallorquin, so it would help if you spoke a little of the language here. Although the lady just spoke to us in English. So prices, what we got up there? Pan with sobrasada, €1.50. So a slice of bread with the sobrasada over the top is €1.50. And just to wash that down, some ecological wine, €1. You have a glass of wine with it for €1.
Cheap, isn't it? Glass of wine.
We're in Lloseta. Oh, sobrasada. I love sobrasada. It's something that's quite rich. There's a lot of fat in there. And when I'm eating sobrasada, I have to do it in moderation. I can eat a lot of it, but I shouldn't because it doesn't do my stomach very good. So we'll just carry on walking down. I think I stumbled across this. It's the story of my life, really. I mean, these things that are going on the island, all over the island, tend to happen in little pockets. And well, they are advertised, but not very well, or not very clearly or openly. So I spotted this in the Spanish newspaper and in the Última Hora, but only this morning. So where are we going to today? I said, and this sort of panned out with my original plan. Oh no, there's a cocker with a difference. That looks really good, doesn't it? It's got some fish on the top. So cocker, it's this thing that looks a little bit like cocker looks a little bit like a pizza, but there's no cheese. It's just vegetables. And here are some of the demons, los timones. So yes, I stumble across these things just by looking at the paper. So I look at the newspaper every day, but today's the first time I've actually noticed this was in the papers. So could easily have passed it by and not known it has happened. And we planned actually to go up to the north of the island anyway, to go up maybe to Pollença and visit the market there. And we would have actually driven past Lloseta and not known this was going on. So I do think they need do they need a better way of communicating, or are they going to get enough people with the locals and a few people that stumble upon it like myself? I don't know. This is really, really nice market. So this is not a market that is on every day or every Sunday. This is particular to today. It's the 5th of June, and it's a particular celebration market for particularly to celebrate shoes and shoe manufacturing. You find these all over the island. The trick is to find out when. Lovely narrow streets, beautifully looked after, nice and clean. But very typical of Mallorca. Mallorca's like that. Lovely little street with some trees. Trees look as though they're well looked after. Not sure how these fit in, but kids obviously like it. Toys, dinosaurs. Who doesn't like a dinosaur? I hear there's a new Jurassic film coming out very soon. I quite like those. I think they've done an incredible job with the animation. And more bees. So, beeswax and honey, really popular here. And as Anita was saying, our son used to have hives until they discovered his wife was allergic to the bee stings, so she had a couple of stings and it seemed to get more serious each time. So the hives had to go to another home. Sandals, I don't think I've worn sandals since I was a child, so they're not going for those. But nice shoes, leather shoes, 25 euros. Lisa actually bought herself a pair of shoes just a week or so ago, so my turn. I'm sure if she sees something she likes, I'm not sure where she is, but if she sees something she likes, I'm sure she'll be getting them, whatever I say. I'm just coming down to the end now, another cafe bar at the end here. I think that may be where we're going to head, find a place where we can have a coffee or some other liquid refreshment. But I've lost Anita, she's still right at the other end. Very busy here, I can't actually see any empty tables down there. I'll go and find Anita and we'll see where we can go for a drink. The musicians are catching up with us, strolling through the market. Some work on this house here. Beautiful stonework actually. Got this side down on that one.
Otra trucha si quieras. No, ya. Me basta de con los tres que tengo.
We've seen some tables. We just need to make sure there's one that's in the shade. It is a bit noisy here in Lloseta, so we found a quiet little cafe. It's not very quiet, and cool refreshment. We might go for a little bit more of a walk around. Anita was looking for some shoes, didn't find any, but did find something. And I'm going to have a look at the shoes, see if there's a pair there that might suit me. But thank you very much for watching. We might include a few postscripts if we see anything else interesting as we're walking around Lloseta, and I'm hoping to get a little bit of video of the factories on the outside, because I find those interesting as well. So thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Bye for now. Kicks in competition with the bagpipes. Hey, they're gonna have some fun here in Lloseta today. left the square earlier, things have opened up a little bit more. Very, very busy in the town. And this is the little tent devoted to the shoe museum, showing some of the old techniques. Some tiny little sandals. And the beautiful quality shoes that they make. I remember my dad having one of these. I can never imagine why he had one. This was made out of iron though. Interesting pair of shoes. Cobbler to trade. Giants are still in. I suppose while we're here we might take a look at the church. Usually good to see. Here now we've got a little bit more of the history. Workers that used to be in the factories. 2001, 2000 these photographs were taken. So 20 years ago now. A bit of ancient, but a little bit of history from the area. It's all being filmed. There's a film crew here. They're all getting set up, and just going to take a little look at the church, see if we can actually go in there. Quite often at these village and town fairs, they have some interesting vehicles, and such from Diane there. Some of them you might not think of as being classics. There's a 1992 Peugeot, a 1980 Fiat 127. Our first car on the island was a Fiat 127, or a Seat 127. Kept in good condition though. This one's from 1992, so we're talking 30-year-old cars here. This one actually is a bit older. This one's an old Seat Sport in red, and that one dates back to 1971. Volkswagen Golf, I suppose you could consider that to be a classic. This is the GTI and is from 1990 as well, so quite old but in very good condition. Cosworth, Ford Cosworth here, 1993. What about this one? From 1976. There's a Seat 124. Just coming around this side, we've got some little bit more curious ones. Here's a Citroen. This one is referred to as a Condesa from 1982, and interesting looking vehicle with interesting leather seats inside. It's a 4-seater. Right next to it, looks like a hot rod. This one's Mallorquin version of a hot rod. It's actually a Renault 4 from 1982. It's been sort of converted, and the wheels have been painted black and white. Hey, but hey, it's fun, isn't it? It's a fun vehicle. And here's a British classic. It's an MG from 1967. Red leather interior. And one of the cars, used to see a lot of these on the island at one time, the Mini Moke, based on the Mini engine, but give it sort of a buggy type of makeover. And this one dates back to 1988. Lovely condition and a fun thing to drive around in the summer here. And the last one on my list here, it's the Citroen ZX 1.8 1996. So just a few fun cars here in Mallorca. Spotted one last one, always a classic. It's the Land Rover, another British car, and this one dates back to 1973. I'm not sure about the colour, but Santana 88 from 1973. And we're just going to have a little look into the church, see if that's possible.